So here we are at Worldwide Technology Raceway here in St. Louis. Uh, Interesting story about today. As you may or may not be aware, I wasn't here yesterday. There was impending weather coming in. Kyle came out from Ohio to help me put this video together, and you'll hear from him later. But we were kind of on the fence of like, is this going to happen today? Is this going to happen Sunday? We made a decision at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to come out here, and we're glad we did because we saw the full distance race, although it was split up by a red flag period for the dreaded rain. But, while today wasn't a bad race, I think we need to acknowledge that for a large portion of the first third of the race, it was a processional race. And unfortunately, the crowd looked about, I don't want to estimate too much because I get in trouble for that, but let's say 25% bigger than it was in 2020, the last time this race was run in the day. And, you look at the last year when it ran at night and you had the stands probably 80% full. Why we're changing the formula up and making this a day race, I don't understand, or a late afternoon race. Should be a night race. The cars race better at night here. The crowd clearly has voted with their wallets that they like a night race here. So, in my opinion, needs to be a night race. But it was definitely it was a better race than it probably deserved to be at the end. Joseph Newgarden was the show, and he was the winner of the race. Spoiler alert. Let's take a look at the results of today's proceedings at Worldwide Technologies Raceway. It was Joseph Newgarden winning over David Malukas, and we're going to have to talk about David Malukas later because that was a stellar performance from David Malukas. Rounding out the podium was Scotty McLaughlin, who was leading at the red flag, but unfortunately didn't get to capitalize and win. Pato O'Ward, you'll actually hear from later on in this video. Takuma Sato, just like his teammate, was coming very fast after the red flag period. Will Power, who you'll also hear from later in this video. Will's always an interesting interview. He came home in 6th. Marcus Ericsson, a quiet 7th in his chase for the IndyCar title. Scott Dixon, again, quiet 8th. Alex Palou, quiet in 9th. All those drivers racing for the IndyCar Championship. Graham Rahal in 10th. Good result for Graham. It seems like Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan is slowly but surely turning it around. Colton Herta fell a lap down and really didn't recover from that. Devlin DeFrancesco, a good result for him, a good qualifying, a solid race. He needs it. Romain Grosjean, all the Andretti cars are all together except for Alexander Rossi. Romain really was battling hard with DeFrancesco at one point, got into the wall. Jimmy Johnson, 14th. We didn't talk about him all day. It seemed like he was running at the back, but at the end of the day, got the result. Elio Castroneves in 15th. Felix Rosenqvist, who was so exciting at the start of the race. He really was the show until Joseph Newgarden at the end, picking off like 10 cars at the start. Rosenqvist, great run. Kyle Kirkwood and Dalton Kellett, the AJ Foyt team, finally both making it to the end of the race, which I think is commendable. They've struggled to do that throughout the year. Christian Lundgaard, not fantastic, but he's re-signed with Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan, so he's all right. Simon Pagenaud, a tough day in 20th place. Callum Ilott actually ran over a crew member and got a penalty in 21st. Ed Carpenter, miserable day. In fact, the entire team with Connor Daly in 23rd. Jack Harvey got into the wall at one point, finished 24th. Alexander Rossi in 25th stalled, lost about 19 laps, just was miserable all day. And Rinus VeeKay actually got into the wall in the initial start and retired the car in 26th spot. So like I said, we got a couple of interviews, Pato O'Ward and Will Power, and when we come back from those, we're going to be bringing in our special guest. Okay, Pato, the story of this race really seemed like it was a changing track, especially with the weather delay. What was kind of your experience?
Yeah, it was definitely a changing track. I think we had a really nice balance, 85% of the race, but the rain washed off the rubber, and I was hanging on. I don't know if they showed on boards or not, but I was definitely on the struggle bus. So I think I'm glad that we finished the race. I'm glad we didn't end up in the wall because there was a couple of times where no idea how that didn't end up bad. So solid points, not what we needed for a championship. So we needed to win today to truly have like a shot at Laguna in Portland, because everybody that we're fighting just keeps winning races, right? So yeah, I mean, bummer. We were on the wrong strategy again.
Will Power, I just talked to Pato. He said the track was really different when you guys went back out there. Can you describe the changes?
No, it's pretty similar to me. I think it definitely cooled off, so there's more grip, but yeah, it wasn't very different. It looked like he went loose, but yeah, it was pretty good.
So what was your race like? I mean, it looked like for a moment there you had it in the bag, and then it seemed to go away at the end of the race. What was the differentiating factor?
Yeah, it's textbook IndyCar races. Yellow came at a very kind of awkward time, and we didn't take it. We should have. That would have put us in a great position, but that's life. Yeah, that's IndyCar.
Traffic looked really difficult. Do you think there's anything we could kind of do to make it easier for faster cars to pass slower cars the next time we come here?
Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, people have to run the outside simply. Then you'd have some passing. It's just a tough track in that respect.
Do you think they did enough? Do you think the drivers did enough with the outside groove? I know you were a big proponent of that.
Yeah, I mean, we rubbered it in, but then everyone just went back down the bottom. That was that. Yeah.
All right, we're back here on the back straightaway, back at the back straightaway gateway. Fantastic. We've got a 3-hour car ride after this. All right, Kyle, I want to hear your thoughts first on today's race and kind of your thoughts as you were kind of watching it.
Well, the beginning was bad. Like, make no bones about it. Like, there's no other way to say it. It was bad.
Choo choo.
Yeah, and then the entire period where Ed Carpenter was running 23rd and nobody could get around him. Like,
Yeah.
when we're like 40 or 60 laps into a race,
Right.
and the first car that comes by is 23rd, and then there's like silence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something bad.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
There has to be different tires.
Yeah.
Has to be
Yes.
tire differentiation. That's why Iowa's so good. But I
Iowa's
mean,
great. I mean, and that's the thing, right? I mean, we see at Iowa, they bring one tire compound there, but the track surface is worn out, and the degradation is such that the fast cars that wear their tires the best can pass the slow cars that are not wearing their tires so well. When everybody is so close like they are in IndyCar, particularly in kind of those warm conditions, you know, we see at the Indy 500 this happen, where they get up behind the lap cars and they can't pass them. You know, I made the suggestion at Iowa that they should do alternate tires at a track like this. I'm going to break a little bit of something. We heard that they were thinking about running an alternate tire here, meaning 2 tire compounds. I had heard that back at Iowa. I asked around, and for whatever reason, they decided to not do that. Now, would that help the race? I think so, maybe. But also, maybe we heard a suggestion that maybe extending the race or shortening it to try to close up some of those pit windows would help too, because I think one of the big problems we saw early on before the threat of weather came into effect towards the middle of the race was that guys were just sitting around saving fuel trying to stretch those windows. If you take away those windows or shorten them to the point where, you know, it doesn't matter if you save or not, maybe that is a way to make the race more exciting, because I think once they actually went racing, it was decent.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the beginning was boring, but then after the rain, like when we had the 43 laps to go, you know, there was action.
Yeah.
The final 43 laps, I think, were pretty good. One, it was at night, it was cooler. I mean, the track after the rain was obviously green, but I mean, so imagine if there was grip.
Yeah.
Imagine if we raced at night and there was grip.
Yeah.
You know, cooler track temps.
Well, because that's what Will Power said, you know, and I hope I didn't ask the wrong question there when I asked, well, do you think the drivers did enough? Well, he said they did. And you think about that, if they had run in the second groove and they had run at night and it hadn't rained, you know, that's a lot of ifs, but we've run gateway races where it hasn't rained before. We probably would have had that second groove come in, and it would have been exciting because, and that was another interesting takeaway I had from the 2 interviews that we did, was that clearly the Dale Coyne cars went forward after, you know, the track cooled down and the rubber got washed off. The Arrow McLaren cars went off. Penske cars stayed the same, which I thought was very interesting, because Will Power's like, what are you talking about, when I asked him about if his car changed at all? You know, it's interesting to hear that stuff, because the Penske cars seemed like they were so far ahead, and they really were. But then let's talk about David Malukas, because I think that's a good transition. Holy crap. This kid is going places. I'll tell you, he's looking really, really good. And, you know, his lights career wasn't like stellar. He was in that championship hunt with Kirkwood, and maybe that should have been our first clue, because Kirkwood was like unbeatable, and then all of a sudden someone was challenging him. He gets to IndyCar, Malukas, and it's just like all of a sudden he's there. And I think today was a coming out party for David Malukas.
For sure. at the end, it was just, where did he come from? I did not see him coming
Passed
at all.
everybody. They did have, now that's something that I've noticed in a lot of the more recent oval races, even the races on smooth tracks without a lot of deg like Indianapolis and here, which is it seems like slightly newer tires. I think that's part of the reason why Marcus Ericsson had the huge run that he had at Indianapolis. The coin cars pitted last of everyone except for Graham Rahal. And I think that it was the advantage when they came back to green was they were far enough up in the serial and they had low enough tire deg, or at least had enough newness on the tires to really get up there and challenge the Penske's, which again, there was a point in this race where Scott McLaughlin and Joseph Newgarden were half a lap ahead of the field.
Because of fresh tires.
Yeah, but that was what was so crazy about, and this is why Joseph got that dog in him, first of all. He deserved to win this race. And I'm starting to think that Joseph Newgarden may be one of the best short oval racers we've ever seen in IndyCar, period. And I know people always crap on me for not giving Joseph Newgarden enough credit. I'm going to give him credit right now, is that Joseph Newgarden, holy crap, I think he's probably the best short oval racer ever. Because, the way he just came up through that field, passed around the outside of Pato O'Ward, which is not an easy feat, by the way, especially when Pato's car didn't even fall off all that much at that point. Crazy. And then puts half a lap on the field. But then McLaughlin chased him down, which I thought was also very interesting.
Yeah, that was, see, if the rain hadn't hit, things might have been different.
Yeah.
That was
Well, things might have been different because you're referring to Graham Rahal almost got a win in the rain.
You're gonna get me going.
I got to push those buttons. The buttons that need to be pushed, Kyle. You understand that.
Listen, I'm driving for 3 hours after this.
He's going to drive the car up a bridge for a McChicken. Okay, Scott McLaughlin. We need to talk about this guy because he's in the championship hunt. He really is.
Yeah, he really is. I need to look at the points, but I imagine.
think Power's leading. I think
leading. Power took the lead.
I should have asked him about that. That's probably what he got big mad.
I checked it at some point, and Newgarden was only 7 points behind.
Yeah.
There was a point in the beginning when they were choo-chooing and it was boring. Had nothing better to do but check the points. And
that's what NBC was probably doing too, to be fair.
Let's
go through the field.
Where Power had like 30-point gap.
Yeah.
And then once Newgarden took the lead, back down to 7. That's how tight this championship is too, by the way.
So and then looking at, he was second at Laguna Seca the last time they raced there. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, did they race there in 21? No, they didn't. They haven't raced there since 19. Is that true?
No, they raced there last year.
Did they race there?
Yeah,
I don't
Herta
remember that at all.
Oh,
that's
memorable.
right. Because it's that damn Herta screwing the show up. So at least in 19, when a championship was on the line for Newgarden, he performed. He got second.
Yes.
And so he was quick there. Portland's a Ganassi track.
Portland's also going to be chaotic. I'm looking forward.
Yeah.
I think the way that. Okay, so now we're talking about the championship.
Yeah, now we're talking about the championship.
I think Laguna Seca is going to be less of kind of a.
That's not a wild card.
That's
race.
not really a wild card.
That is you've got to qualify well and then hope that mechanical failures.
Hope that Herta has something go wrong. You know?
Well, you're not worried about Herta because Herta's not in the championship. You just
but
got to finish second to Herta. Like that's all that matters.
But if you're somebody that needs to win,
well, that's a good
I need
point.
to check the points, but maybe let's throw out McLaughlin who
would
might
be,
need to win. You better hope something happens to Herta.
Has
right?
McLaughlin really been? I guess he was good at Mid Ohio, right?
He won Mid Ohio.
Yeah, he won. Well, I know, but that's what I'm getting at is that the
dude's good everywhere. He's got that dog in him. Since we're on the topic of Laguna Seca, I do want to ask you.
Is it going to be any more chaotic than that was?
No.
No, okay.
I do want to ask you about the final race. Laguna Seca.
Yeah.
Do you think it should be at Laguna Seca?
No.
Let's talk about this.
No. The only reason it's there is because the sponsors like to drink wine and sit in a hospitality.
And before that, we had Sonoma, and we can't go back to Sonoma because nobody shows up. So what's the difference?
No one shows up to Laguna Seca.
Exactly.
Either. I hate to give you the spoiler.
So where do you think the final race should be? Because for a while, people thought
it was here. Yeah.
But
because there was an amazing crowd, and the race wasn't half bad. I want to say Fontana.
The reason I asked you this is
Fontana's getting torn down.
I spent a long time on the drive over to Indianapolis thinking about this. Like, where would the best final race be for IndyCar? And the obvious answer is Fontana, but
that's the obvious answer.
We have to let that go.
We have to let that go.
We have to let that go.
Iowa.
But I like the doubleheader.
I like the doubleheader. Well, why not end it on a doubleheader?
I don't know how I feel about a doubleheader being the championship weekend.
Okay, if not
it
Iowa,
would be interesting,
all right.
but
Let me say something that's totally out of character. Brickyard Road Course.
I'm done. I quit. I'm out.
Like,
bye.
If you want a crowd, you end it at Indianapolis.
David Land saying, "Bring back the Harvest GP." Who would have thought?
Oh no, I'm not saying. Well, here's my concession would be you get rid of the other 2 road course races, and make it special.
Sure.
But that's the thing is
But I
again,
think it
do the
needs to be-
sponsors want to be in Indianapolis?
I-
No.
I wish it could be on an oval at night though. That's my only I want that so bad as the
This
IndyCar
isn't a good enough
finale.
race. This isn't a
I
good enough
know.
race, and unfortunately, the crowd did not come out this time. If
Yeah.
they come out next time, then we'll talk about it. And the good news is that the Gateway, the track, is very supportive of IndyCar.
Yes.
That's great, and maybe you reward them with the championship race. But you have to have an event, something that feels like an event, and maybe you could. But you have to fix the racing product. You have to
Yeah.
fix it because what I want to say is like you want to promote this as a huge title event under the lights Saturday night on TV NBC, maybe right before the football season starts. Do something like that, but you have to get the racing to the point where it doesn't have to be a pack race, but you have to be able to say, okay, the championship contenders are going to be able to race for it.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can guarantee that at this track, and obviously you can't guarantee it at any track. But what you want is like a Michigan or a Fontana, and those
Yeah.
are quickly going by the
I would
wayside.
get rid of the. See, I'd want it to be at night, but I would get rid of that for Michigan. I would say, okay, day race finale, fine.
Honestly,
I do want it to be at night, though.
Here's
That'd
the
be
thing
awesome.
about Michigan, and I was born in Michigan, so I can say this: is that Michigan, there's a stigma that state is like cold. It doesn't get cold there until like October, November. You could run a mid or late September race at Michigan, and you could get away with it.
Yeah, as
So-
someone from Ohio, it takes forever to get warm and it takes forever to get cold.
Yeah.
It's like the summer
Yeah.
shifting.
Now, I mean, it's southern Michigan, Brooklyn, where Michigan International Speedway
Right.
is, but I don't know. I mean, I think you could get away with it. But that again requires IndyCar to want to do it. It requires Michigan to be willing to host the event. It requires NBC to put it on national television because that's what you need for a race like that. And it would also, require the sponsors to not want to sit on Laguna Beach and drink wine. And that's the problem. That's where we are right now.
Yeah.
We got to take care of the sponsors, and the fans are like second or third on that totem pole.
So if there's anything to take away from that conversation, you watching, show up to Gateway next year.
Yeah.
Fill the stand.
I said this last year, and there were less people that showed up. So
Wow.
I don't know what.
I don't know. We're doing something.
I will say this: I will be in Laguna Seca. I'm planning on doing that. Probably not Portland, because quite frankly, trips to the West Coast are getting more and more expensive as things go on.
Flights.
Flights, rental cars, all of it. I hate it.
All of it.
Inflation, not fun. But what is fun is going to IndyCar races, and we
Yeah.
actually did that tonight. So I don't know. It was Joseph Newgarden put on a good enough performance that this race will be more memorable than the first third, I
Yes.
think. And David Malukas had a coming out party, and I think he's going to be a star of the future. And I think we're going to see David Malukas versus
Yeah.
Joseph Newgarden at races in the future. So we got a teaser of it for maybe 2023.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's going to go start chasing carts for all the
Go-
whole
go-kart
winter.
stuff.
And then what's next? Petit Le Mans.
Petit
You'll
Le
be
Mans.
at Petit Le Mans.
Yeah, you'll see
So,
me next to Petit Le Mans.
Yeah.
We love
So it'll
Petit
be
Le
fun.
Mans. I love Petit.
All right. This is a long video. This is going to be.
We got a lot done.
Yeah, we did get a lot done. We actually came out here and we did work and we got it done. All right.
That'll do, pig.
That'll do, pig. It ain't much, but it's honest work.
Honest work.
I hope you guys enjoy a 30-minute video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.